A 47-year-old man who was arrested yesterday on suspicion of human trafficking will appear in the Booysens Magistrate's Court in Johannesburg tomorrow. The suspect, who is a foreign national, was arrested in the CBD yesterday after police intercepted a vehicle and rescued two teenage boys on Broad Street in the suburb of Mulbarton. 10 other boys were found walking half naked. An investigation is underway. Emma van der Walt, founder and CEO of Brave to Love, a counter-human trafficking organization, joins us now via video link. Emma, a very good afternoon to you. Quite a disturbing story. I mean, this incident does echo previous cases involving foreign minors, being trafficked or being held under suspicious circumstances in this country. I remember particularly cases in east of Johannesburg, including areas like Benoni Springs, Brakpan, and Davidton. I mean, what do you make of this disturbing and horrifying recurring pattern?
Yeah, so I think firstly, when we look at human trafficking, we're looking at three phases: recruitment, then we're looking at the second phase of transportation, and then exploitation. What is very concerning here, and we've been looking at human trafficking over the last 10 years in South Africa. And in the past, we saw a lot of South Africans actually being involved with trafficking. But currently, we're seeing many cases where foreign nationals are trafficking other foreign nationals within our borders. It's still a high priority crime, human trafficking, and we need to be able to fight it within our borders, because it is happening within our country and people are being exploited within our country.
I mean, there's so many questions in terms of just how do they get it right? How do these children enter South Africa in such large, numbers? Raising the question, of course, is or are our borders failing? Is Gauteng emerging as a transit or a destination hub for child trafficking syndicates? Help us also make sense of this in terms of our authorities on top of these questions.
So firstly, we need to understand, because we're looking at, once again, the same pattern as the Ethiopians that are trafficked within our country, all male, and many of them young, underage minors, which makes the our act on human trafficking more strict when it comes to minors. So there's a large problem, and it's not just South Africa. We're looking at other countries like the smuggling route. So we're looking at human smuggling, but so the recruitment phase happens within Ethiopia, or whichever other country, whether it's Zimbabwe or other countries, but we're seeing that these Kenyan, they are recruited through Kenya, and then they are smuggled through Malawi. Now, we know in Malawi there's a massive refugee camps where a lot of these groups, foreign nationals will tell us, in the smuggling route, they are held, and it's terrible conditions and some of them die even on the way. They don't even make South Africa. So that whole route, and they are promised to be part of the foreign communities here in South Africa, because we have a very large informal economy of foreigners like your Zimbabweans, Ethiopians, and many Malawians that are illegally in the country here for survival, because they are in poverty in their own countries, but they are coming to South Africa and they are in a worse of situations. And we've seen other crimes, and we're looking at criminal trends. We've seen other crimes also around this case. We see human trafficking, but we see also extortion, where these young boys, their families are actually extorted back home for money. So they are held, it's a kidnapping situation as well, where they are held captive. They are being extorted, their families are being extorted, and unless these traffickers are getting the money, they will not release the boys. And then once they're released, if the family can pay, they're released. But in this case, this is why the boys are tortured. They're half naked. They are starved. They are traumatized. It's really a serious crime against humanity.
And I mean, I want to touch on another incident that we're monitoring. I don't know how much of it you know, the involvement of a South African recruiter in the recent case of the 14 youths detained in Thailand. I mean, how significant is the role of local agents or networks operating here within South Africa, facilitating these trafficking operations, and what steps could be taken to dismantle them?
Yes, so we are very closely involved with the work in Thailand. We were as an NGO, we were on the forefront in actually identifying that trend of trafficking happening to Thailand. So we need to red flag certain countries where our people are recruited to. And Thailand is unfortunately a high-risk country at the moment for trafficking of South Africans and other African nationalities as well. And then we need to make sure, because these traffickers are looking for opportunities. They are looking for vulnerabilities of poverty, young people that are unemployed. They're looking for those vulnerabilities to prey upon, and they're very well organized. It's criminals that are not just day-to-day, they are very well organized. So they use international recruiting companies. It's not always South Africans, although after a while, these groups infiltrate with South Africans back to South Africans, and they are actually recruiting on the ground as well. So there's many different, whether it's through social media, and the public needs to be aware of these and high-risk areas, high-risk countries, to not go for job opportunities that looks too good to be true, where an agent is paying your flight. It's really crucial to be aware, to not be a victim.
Absolutely. Emma, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Of course, a disturbing story, that one. Emma van der Walt is a founder and CEO of Brave to Love, a counter-human trafficking organization.